All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be going over the odd and even curve lines for Luffy and the OP 16.5 meta. There will be a deck list at the end of the video for the full breakdown for you guys, and there will also be a lethal guide somewhere in the middle there, just so that you guys can see what we do and how we like to do it, as well as what my general choices are and how I play Monkey D. Luffy from OP 13. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe if you can. This is something I'm going to start doing on the regular. I will update this for OP 17, and I'll still try and get out a bunch of ranked games as well. Let me know what you guys think. All right, let's get into it. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So this is our Odd Dawn curve for Monkey D. Luffy, red-green from OP 13. I've got a nice little table I broke out for you guys for the curve of going odd. We'll have an even curve and then a lethal push guide as well. But I wanted to kind of show you guys the card lines. So here on One Dawn, we're going to want to find the stage. It's always kind of our most optimal place. It's the best thing in the deck because it gets us continual value over the course of the game. But of course, the other option is to find one of our searchers in Nami or Jewelry Bonnie. Getting a body on board against some of these leaders is important because sometimes you need to take out their bodies. Like against Black Yellow Teach, you want to have a body on board so that you can take out their Laffites so that you don't have to waste a swing removing them. And then when you get to 3 Dawn, the best thing you can do is develop another searcher if you already have stage, because then you can just play your searcher, go looking 5 deep. Nami is my preferred one, but you can also do the Jewelry Bonnie. You want to go 5 deep, and then you can use this stage to get the rest of Dawn back onto your leader, and then you can push for 6 or 7. I like 7 just because I'm more of an aggressive player, and I don't think that you need to guard your life as much in the early game. The other thing you can develop is a Laboon. If you're playing against a matchup like blue or yellow that is going to have a lot of removal, you need to be playing a Laboon as soon as you can, and on your 3 Dawn turn is kind of your best curve there to get that guy out, because hopefully at that point you have a searcher of some type, because then you can use the Laboon effect at any point to rest searchers to make sure that your bigger bodies stay clear and you don't have to rest the Laboon himself. Onto your 5 Dawn turn, the best thing you can play is always going to be a Sanji. Play it for 5, restand 2, and then use your stage effect to get one underneath your leader. And then you can choose how much Dawn you think you're going to need. If they haven't developed any bodies, maybe you push for 7 and leave only 2 Dawn up. Or if they have bodies, maybe you need to leave 3 Dawn up and only push for 6. The alternate play, the only other thing that I'd really want to play there is an Usopp. It's not as good, but it is sometimes the best we have if we've missed our Sanji. If we get an Usopp on board, that's great. You can use the Dawn effect again, put one of those underneath leader, and we'll get 2 back every turn. This guy gets more value the longer he's on board. He's not nearly as good for attacking as the Sanji, and maybe you don't need to attack with this on the following turn, just because on your 7 Dawn turn, if they've got a bunch of bodies on board, the first thing they're going to do is start swinging your Usopp. So I will say this, if your life is at 3 or 4, I would not swing with the Usopp, because you probably don't have the resources to defend the Usopp on the following turn, unless their board is very weak or you know what their next play is going to be. You do not want to lose this early, because if this gets removed after the first time you swung with it, it hasn't got nearly enough value to justify it being on the board. On your 7 Dawn turn, the best thing you can be doing is a Usopp and a Luffy, but the other thing you could do is just a Luffy into anything else if you need to. If you need to go Luffy into a Laboon or any of your searchers, that's fine, but he does restrict your cost, so the only other real character we can play is the Usopp. It's fine if you have your turn set up. The reason I have this up top is now that we're starting to get some more stuff on board, we need our board space a little bit more. The best playlines is here at the top, because if you can go stage, searcher, Sanji into Luffy, and you'll see our next turn, the best thing we could be doing is double Sanji. If you can get 3 Sanji on board by using your searchers to go really deep into the deck and grab 3 of these, they're actually better than an Usopp, because you will have 4 7 costs on board, and you will not have room to play a Usopp because you're going to need to drop your 7 costs or your 9 cost going forward. So if you do find this and you have multiple of these in hand, I would recommend dropping this and not the Usopp. But if you don't have any other Sanji in hand, the Usopp is the ideal play because then you've just got a nice little board flood going on. Over onto our 9 Dawn turn, though, the best thing we could be doing is double Sanji, because double Sanji is just super busted, like I was saying, because then you're getting 3 Dawn back a turn, and you've got 4 7k bodies on field, which is going to pressure pretty much any leader in the game. I have not seen any leaders that can withstand 3 7ks with 3 Dawn coming back for us every single turn. The other thing you can do is a single Sanji. That's an alternate line. The thing you can do is drop a 9 cost Zoro. And the reason this is in here is it's not good against a lot of matchups. A lot of matchups, this is too slow. It's not going to be good against Black Yellow Teach. This is not going to be good against Black Yellow Teach. What's the other one? Blue. This is not going to be good against Blue Green Luffy and quite a few other leaders. However, I have added this back into my list because this is really good against other red-green Luffys. If you can get a 9k that can swing 3 times, this Luffy over here that we're going to talk about here in a second has a really strong minusing effect, but this Zoro can play around it. And all the cards that we currently use to rest characters are going to cost too much to both you rest this 9 cost and get this 7 out on field. It just can't be done with what we currently are using. That might change in the future if people get creative, but so far it hasn't happened. So this 9 cost is the first one. You want to drop this on your first 9 Dawn turn, but that requires all the setup for it. That requires you to have a stage, a Sanji, or a Sanji and an Usopp, probably, just because you want 3 Dawn coming back up on your opponent's first 8 Dawn turn. They will have, if they have hit optimal curve, they'll have double Sanji to go against you, as well as probably a Luffy. That means that you have to deal with 3 7 costs, including a double attack, before you get to start swinging with this. So you need to be aware of how much defense you're going to need to take on all those attacks. You don't want to die in order to get this out. It's not worth it if you lose. If you lose all 3 of your life, it's not worth getting this on board yet. You can hold off a turn if you need to, but I will say if you get to your 10 Dawn turn, this gets harder and harder to play the longer the game goes on. Even if you get more Dawn restanding, because they're going to get so many big aggro options like this Zoro and this Luffy. You can play this on your first 10 Dawn turn, but likely what will happen is they're going to start dropping this Luffy and removing your guys. It's not the end of the world, though, because this will be able to attack, but they will probably have some ideas of how to get around it by either dropping a Zoro or the Luffy. If they don't have the Zoro, they can use this for board clear, or they can use this for defense. Either way, it's pretty good. If you guys do not develop this Zoro, and it is against your standard matchups where this Zoro isn't good, say you cannot play this Zoro, on your first 10 Dawn turn, the best thing to play is probably this Zoro or this Luffy. These are equal options. Zoro is your defensive option if their board has gone really wide. You want to play this when they have an 8,000 power character on board so that you can make sure to get the swing out of it. You want to be able to go 9 at something like a 7 or a 6. Make sure you get the removal effect, because you don't want to lose a ton of value by him just being on board. And pretty much every matchup you have is going to have something with 8,000 power as soon as they hit their first 10 Dawn turn, at least. They'll likely have developed one on their first 8 Dawn turn, but if they didn't, you can hold this for a turn. The other option is an offensive option, is the Monkey D. Luffy, a 7/9 that reduces one of their characters by 1,000 per Straw Hat card on your board. That includes leader and character. Means that your Luffy, on average, is going to minus them by at least 5,000. you do know I've never had a real problem hitting the minus 7,000 against everything except for like purple and L because they do so much removal. But once you get this to minus 7,000, you're going to take whatever they have, because if you've got a minus 7,000, even against a 12,000 attack body, if you get minus 7, that puts it down to a 5. And if you look at our curve here, we will have 1, 2, 3, 4 7,000 attacks, a 9,000 attack if you give 3 of your Dawn cards to your guys, as well as your leader. So if you use Stage and give a rested Dawn to your leader, plus 1 more Dawn to your leader, you'll have 5 7,000 of power attacks and a 9,000 power attacks, and maybe an 8,000 power to get that 3rd rested Dawn somewhere. They're not saving whatever you just minused. It will be lost, and more than likely than it being lost is it'll be lost on the 1st or 2nd swing, probably, and then they still have to deal with the other 3 7,000 power swings and the 9,000 power swing. This is so aggressive. This takes away so many options for so many leaders that it's just really powerful. The other thing you guys can do after this is defensive options. I don't have it shown on here. I have it on my next slide. So we'll talk about the defensive options on our even Dawn curve. And the reason I did it this way is because I personally think the odd Dawn curve is a lot more of an aggressive curve than the even Dawn. Odd Dawn curve is aggressive. Even Dawn is more defensive. So let's get over to that. All right, so here is our even Dawn curve. Got it nice and laid out for you guys. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and a second 10 Dawn turn. So these are all different options. So let's get to it. On our first 2 Dawn turn, the best thing we can find is the Stage. Stage, of course, will let us search 5 deep, and then we can use its effect to rest it and put 1 rested Dawn underneath our leader, which means we can have an active Dawn to still defend ourselves, so our leader effect is always online. So when you're playing this is kind of what you're looking for. Then we're going to go, the second best thing I think you could find is probably a Laboon. Laboon on our second Dawn curve is really important just because there's so many removal decks. If you're not playing against a removal deck, you can dismiss this, but I like to have Laboon against most of the meta right now because Gravity Blade's all over the place. People are playing the, I believe it's a 6-cost Silver's Rayleigh that'll pop one of our guys. We're playing against a lot of stuff that has Zeus. We just want to have a good defensive option here. Laboon's becoming more and more important. On our first 4 Dawn turn, Usopp's the best thing. If we found Stage, we can go Usopp and put this rested Dawn underneath our leader and still have the ability to develop a character here. The reason we've got this guy here is just because finding it's really important. So if you do not have this Usopp, you cannot play this. But what you do want to do is find any one of your searchers and use your searchers to find this for your follow-up plays, because we need to set up for our 8 Dawn turn. This 4 Dawn turn, if you miss this, and even if you don't miss this, it might be worth it to find a bunch of your searchers and use your searchers to find this guy. This becomes super important for your 8 Dawn turn. Your 8 Dawn turn on an even Dawn curve almost makes or breaks a game for you. And I'll go over that here in just a second. On 6 Dawn, the best thing you can probably play is the Monkey D. Luffy. Again, it's not the end of the world if you don't find the Usopp to pair with it, because I am looking for Sanjis, as many of them as I can get. If we can go Luffy into Usopp, great. But if you need to find some of these later pieces, Luffy into any of your searchers is really good. Just because you're okay to put some of your Dawn using the Stage underneath your leader and having 2 or 3 up, because this guy will restand 4, is enough to play defense in those early turns, and even taking a life is fine. You'll actually see me take life more aggressively on the even curve because I need to find my pieces. If you guys watch any of my games, you'll notice that I put extra Dawn underneath my leader and attack for 7s or 8s on my early turn, even though there's no reason to, because our opponent's going to likely take a 6 anyways, especially if they're a 5 life leader. But sometimes I want to push 7 because I want them to hit me back. I want them to think, oh, this is my chance to hit Luffy, and it's going to get so much harder late game that I want them to hit me early so I can find my pieces, because our ability to pressure is so much better than most other decks. That's why we're a really strong deck, because we can pressure really good early, and late game we can play super defensively using the guys that we build our pressure with. And so the 8 Dawn turn, the all-important turn for even Dawn, is a double Sanji to play. I will say this is your go-to here. You want this top line here more than anything, and this is what makes the game. If you can play you can't do any searching on this turn to find this. If you're on 8 Dawn, if you have to search, you can't do this anymore. But if you do have this, you can go 5 Dawn, restand 2, you'll have 5 left, play another one, restand 2, you got 2 Dawn up, you can use this to put one underneath your leader, and now you've got 2 Dawn coming back, and you've developed 2 7Ks. This, if you just have these 3, that's going to look really scary to your opponent. If you've developed a Usopp somewhere along the way, you'll then have 4 Dawn coming up, and it'll make your later turns really impactful. If you don't find these Sanjis, I'd almost rather develop a Roanoa Zoro on 8 Dawn if we can, just to get a 9,000 power attacker on board. On your first 8 Dawn turn, you're probably not going to get to use its ability, and that really sucks. You're not going to get the character rush out of it anyways. You're going to become a 7,000 power leader, and that's fine. But that means you're not going to swing an Usopp if you found them along the way. But getting a 9,000 power body on field is nothing to sneeze at. If you're setting up for your next turn, the next best thing on your first 10 Dawn turn, I like to be an aggro player, so this top line is what you'll want to see me play. The bottom line's a lot more defensive here. On your first 10 Dawn turn, I like to get a Monkey D. Luffy, and whatever they just developed on their first 9 Dawn turn, it's really nice to be able to destroy it. If you can get this Luffy out, it gets rushed if you have 3 given Dawn, and it minuses 1,000 power for every Straw Hat card on your field, including stage and leader, so you're always going to have at least a -3. Likely you're going to have a -5, all the way up to a -7. If you've got all this on board, you're going to be really tough to stop. A 5,000 power unit, a 7,000 power, and 2 more 7,000s with a 9. That's all 5 of your character slots are now full. So that's why we're going to be really careful with what we fill our board space up. By the way, on 10 Dawn, if I have 10 Dawn and I want to play this, I'm okay playing over the Laboon at this point, unless I know my opponent is sitting on a ton of removal. The thing is, we lose pretty hard to Gravity Blade, but at worst case, if I play this over my Laboon, I will have 5 units. If they Gravity Blade both of these away, I will then still have 3 units, and on my next 10 Dawn turn, I can develop more stuff. It's fine. They will also not have developed a lot, and because the Gravity Blade is a 7-cost card, they will have done very little to forward their board, meaning that all of our Dawn, if we've got 5 Dawn standing back up, or 4, they probably can't hit us. So they've essentially done nothing but remove our guys that turn, and we probably have enough to start refueling our hand anyways, because our board space gets full. Board space management in this deck is really hard, because you need to know whether you're going to give up Dawn restand or you want to keep aggression on board. But I know everybody's sitting here eyeballing this 9-cost Zoro. The 9-cost Zoro, the first turn I would want to play it is my first 10 Dawn turn, and I want to play it on my first 10 Dawn turn, assuming I got these guys, because that's 9, use stage, put 1 underneath leader, I got 3 Dawn up. If our game plan is this 9-cost Zoro, I will say we need to probably have developed an Usopp somewhere along the way. Whether that's on the first 4 Dawn turn or getting these guys up, Zoro requires you to have probably 4 Dawn up. just because you do not want to lose to any of your opponent's big stuff. If they see you drop this 9-cost Zoro, they will go into full panic mode and they will try to aggress you as fast as they can, or they'll have to come up with a solution to the Zoro. The Zoro is a big screaming gun that you put on the table. They do not know. Everybody knows what this thing can do. And anybody who's new to the game will immediately see this card and go, why did they let something with 9,000 power get triple attack? Because when attacking, you can rest a Dawn, restand him. Activate main, you can rest 2 Dawn, restand him. Both of those are once per turn, and he gets his initial swing as well. In the mirror match, this is a game breaker. This is really strong because there's not a good way to rest it and get a minus effect on board in order to sink its attack value. But when you're in the mirror, you only get 2 swings with this, because if your opponent doesn't die to this thing's 3rd swing, you're losing it on the crackback. They will immediately use every one of their resources to get one of these Luffy on field, minus this thing down to 2,000 power, and then it will die. There's nothing you can do to save it at that point, and you will have lost a 9 Dawn investment. So just keep it in mind that this thing gets 2 swings again in the mirror match, but it is so strong in the mirror match to get you those extra swings that I have left it in the list. I'm kind of prepping for more mirror matches myself because Luffy being the number 1 in the meta right now is really cool to see, but I also am a little bit hesitant to see how people start playing it. So I've left one 9-cost in the list. Because I play 10 searchers, 3 of which are Namis, I am able to search really deep to find this when I need it. Which is why when I was talking to you guys earlier on this 6 Dawn turn, developing this Usopp is not necessary. You can play this Luffy and then start playing a bunch of searchers in order to get your pieces for your follow-up turn. It's really important. The 7-cost Zoro is another option. If you're not playing anything where this guy's required, the 7-cost Zoro is your other equivalently good option here. Because if your opponent has a 8,000 power body on field, this will clear your opponent's mid-game, make you defensive for a turn, develop a 9,000 power body, and you can hold these Luffys until there's something really worth removing. So these are equal. This is only good. You don't want to use this on like a 6,000, 7,000 powered body. That's not what you're aiming to use. You're aiming to use this to get rid of their 10,000 power plus bodies, which is what we've historically struggled with this deck. As soon as those go sideways, the nice thing is if you're playing against something like Green Mihawk, he'll turn those bodies sideways before they get to swing, which is even better for us, because now we get to say, hey, oh, you put a Law and Beppo on field, that's an 11k, cool story. Thank you for turning it sideways. I'm going to minus that thing down by 7,000. It's a 3,000 power, or it's a 4,000 power unit. I'm going to poke it for 7 a bunch of times. You're not saving it. So if they just have some little guys on field and nothing of their big guys is sideways, develop this first, poke down their guy. You're not losing a life that turn. And then as soon as one of their big guys goes sideways, this is your moment to shine. Drop this out. The other option for defense is this down here. They Nami into the I Know You're Strong. This can be a Luna, an electric Luna if you guys want. This is a freeze event for 2 7-cost or less from refreshing. You can knock them down with the Nami, and then you can freeze them, and that's just fine. It's a good defensive option, but it's not the end-all be-all, and you'll actually see if you guys watch some of my videos, I do not play this Nami a whole lot anymore. This Nami, more and more, is getting used for counter for me because I'm a more aggressive player. You will not see me turtle a whole lot and just try and freeze out their board unless I'm getting really pressured and I've lost a lot of my board. I like this upper line of strategy up here. I like going 4, 6, 5, 5, 7, 7. This is a really punishing board for your opponent to deal with because they all have such good effects. 2 Dawn restand, a nice double attack, a Dawn restand each, minusing their board twice. If I can do this, most leaders are going to crumble to this really fast. This down here is an alternate option line, though, as you guys can see. If you guys have got this going on, a Laboon, a Stage, you find one of these guys, and you go 1, 4, and then you've got 2 of these, 1 of these. This is 4 Dawn coming back a turn, which is why this Zoro suddenly becomes an option, and then you can just turtle. This is a turtle strategy right here. If you guys want to do that, that is a perfectly acceptable play line. It's just not my play style. If you guys want to watch me play it, I have a lot of fun playing aggressively, but I'm happy to show you how to turtle as well. Turtling just means, in case you guys don't know, just sitting there and hiding behind your 10k Dawn and being a 7,000 power leader as often as you can, and then freezing your opponent's board so that they don't have as much aggression to put on you, and poking them for the smallest attacks you can instead of the biggest. All right, I think that's all I got for even Dawn curves. So let's jump over and look at some lethal lines. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So here is a little quick guide for doing lethal. Lethal push is generally done on a 10 Dawn turn, which is why you'll see that up there. And here is kind of my tech cards of choice for going for lethal. Sanji gives one of our Straw Hat Crew type characters with 6,000 power or more unblockable for the turn. So if your opponent has no life, because we develop 7s and 9s on our board so often, if you give one of your 7-cost Zoros with a 9,000 power unblockable, and then you stack the remaining 8 Dawn on him, that means you are swinging for 17,000 at your leader. If you've done, because our leader's so aggressive at poking 7s all the time, their hand is not likely to be huge. So if their hand, I would say, is at 6 or 7 cards, and they have no life cards, if you push this Sanji onto one of your 9,000 power units, it will do really well at clearing their body. Of course, it's always a judgment call. Some leaders are more defensive than others. Some have really good abilities for getting out of stuff like that, but 17,000 is a lot to get out of. And people forget that we have this Sanji a lot because it's not one of the things, it's not a new card. It's been around forever, but they just tend to forget it. If your opponent has blockers and Dawn up and you have a large board, the best thing you can probably do is Dead Man's Game. Using this to rest 4 Dawn, 1 for the cost of the card, and then 3 additional Dawn, where you get to rest 2 of your opponent's characters and or Dawn, is really good. If they have a blocker and a Dawn up, this is your go-to, because you can rest both the Dawn card and the blocker. The blocker will go out of your way, and the Dawn card going down means that likely one of the cards in their hand just became a brick, which will make going for lethal even easier. Which means all of your guys will get to start swinging. You can use your stage to get one of those rested cards underneath your leader, which means this doesn't even dedicate you into going for lethal, because you'll still have a Dawn underneath your leader, and 3 Dawn will be down, and you'll likely have enough Dawn restand effects from your characters that you might not die on the crackback, all depending on board state. But after that, you can start swinging your numbers. Optimal numbers are always, odd numbers for odd-powered leaders. So 7s into 5s and 9s into 5s are really good. And 8s into 6s and then 10s into 6s are always really good. So just keep that in mind. But this is kind of your solution if your opponent has blockers and Dawn on field. If your opponent has blockers and a life and no Dawn up, I really like this ST30 Monkey D. Luffy. You can rest one of your Dawn cards. This guy gets rushed for the turn. Then you can use its when attacking effect to rest anything that's got a blocker on it. And this will develop you an extra body. If you only have 4 bodies, this is kind of your go-to, because then you can develop that 5th body you need to push. I usually attack for 7 by putting another Dawn underneath this guy, so that is a 6 Dawn investment to get this guy to go forward. But it'll go 6 Dawn, you'll rest their blocker, a punch for 7, and then you can just start stacking your Dawn everywhere else and keep those good numbers rolling with 7s and 9s. He's really good, and people do not expect him a lot because he's not running a ton of lists, which is why I run him as a one-of, but he's so strong that I really don't want to cut him from the list. If your opponent has a single Dawn or a single blocker plus more life cards than you can currently deal with, Brook is really strong. The nice thing about Brook is you can get that extra swing out of him and rest those things. The thing that you guys can do, though, I know that your board space is something I keep coming back to. If your board is full, attack for 7 with one of your guys. The one you're most okay with losing. If they're at 1 life and you're going for a lethal push, attack with your 7,000 power double attack Luffy first. Get that swing off. Make them do something about it. Hopefully they don't use the Dawn or blocker, or if they have one of each, maybe they use the Dawn, and that's great for you, or they use the blocker, either or. But as soon as that Luffy swings, you can put this Brook over the top of where that Luffy used to be, because if they're at 1 life, that Luffy's not getting any value anyways. He's just a 7,000 power body. Let's put this Brook over the top of him, rest the remaining Dawn and or blocker, and then we can start stacking larger numbers on our other guys. The best thing to do is put the 4 remaining Dawn on one of your big guys if they've only got 1 life, so that you can get like an 11,000 power swing twice. We like that a lot. But if they've got more than 1 life and their hand size has been whittled down appropriately, which is when you should be going for your lethal push. If they've got 15 cards in hand and 2 life, that is not what we're talking about. We're not talking about going for lethal at that time. But if they've got, 7 cards in hand and 2 life, maybe you divide your Dawn up a little more aggressively. Put like a couple of 9s on board and go 7, 7, 7, 9, 9. That works pretty good too. But this Brook is the solution for if they've got a blocker and Dawn, or a blocker or a Dawn, plus too many life for your current board to take. If they've got 4 life and they've got like 3 cards in hand, you can take every one of those life by using this Brook. Just swing out a lot. Playing around yellow triggers is always hard, but sometimes it can be done by holding the Brook late, swinging out your board, and then waiting to see which one of your characters survives all their nonsense triggers, restanding the guy that you were going for lethal with, using the Brook, and punching for that final swing. All right, I think that's all I got for our lethal information. You guys have any questions, let me know. I'm trying to keep this up to date. People really liked when I did this for the last one, and I'm trying to do this updated one for OP 16.5, so you guys let me know what you like. Let's jump over and take a quick look at the deck list. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here's our deck list. This is what I'm going to be running in more of my competitive events. This is for Red Green Luffy. Here's my ratios for this. There'll be a copy of this in the description below as well, if you guys want to copy and paste that down there. On every one of my Red Green Luffy videos, I go over what all these cards do, if you need to go over that. But we can run through it real fast here, just so everybody's on the same page. The numbers are down here are always flexible. This is my personal play style, and they can always adjust as needed. You guys can play whatever you want. This is not perfect, but it is seeing a large amount of success on the ranked ladder right now. I really do like this list. All right, we've got 3 copies of Jewelry Bonnie. I've done a 3-3 split with my 1-cost searchers outside of the stage because I like the ability to find Nami, because Nami cannot search Nami, but Jewelry Bonnie can, so that's why we're running this. It's a 1-2-1, looking in the top 4 for Straw Hat Crew. Sanji's a 2-3-2K. It gives one of our guys unblockable like we were talking about, as long as they have 6,000 power or more. We've got Roanoa Zoro, which is a 7-9. He gives our leader plus 2,000 power till the end of our opponent's next turn, and he gets character rush if they have an 8,000 power body on board. I'm running 3 copies of Luffy. I gave up one for my 9-cost Zoro, although I would love to have this at 4. I just wasn't sure where to make the cut. Having this guy at 3 means that we have to be a little more careful about how we use him, but he's still really strong. A 7-9, if you have 3 given Dawn cards, this guy gets rush. And on play, we get to minus one of our opponent's characters by 1,000 for every Straw Hat Crew type card we have on board. That includes characters, leader, and stage. And then we've got Nami. It's a 1-2-1 searching, looking at the top 5 for Straw Hat Crew other than Nami, which is why it's a 3 of and not a 4 of. It can't find our blocker Nami, and sometimes blocker Nami is really useful. And then we've got Laboon. It's a 1-2-2K. It's anti-removal for our 7,000 power or less characters. It only covers base, so if any of our 9,000 power units get power reduced, it will not protect them. But it is non-once per turn. It is a 2K, which is why it's run at 4 copies. Usopp is a 4-5 1K counter. End of turn, he'll restand 2 Dawn every turn. He gets more value the longer he's on board, which is why he's pretty darn good. We got Nami. It's a 4/2/1 blocker. On play, it'll rest 2 of our opponent's characters with a cost of 8 or less, and it restands 5 Dawn at the end of the turn. So it's really defensive, and it's good at getting stuff out of our way. It's probably one of the most broken blockers I've ever seen printed. I've got 1 copy of this Monkey D. Luffy from starter deck 30. It's a 4/6 brick, but on play, it gets rush if you rest it on, and it can rest anything when it's attacking that has blocker, no cost restriction, which is why it's super good at getting rid of those 10 cost blockers that are becoming more and more frequent. And from what I've seen, there's going to be some 12 cost blockers, so this is a good answer for those. Sanji is probably one of my favorite cards in the deck. It might be the best card for overall value. A 5/7 brick. On play restands 2 Dawn. At the end of every turn, it will stand an additional Dawn. If you have an option in your searches, take this. There are exceptions to that rule, but I will say the more Sanjis I have, you saw in my flow charts for our curves, the more Sanjis you have, the better. This will make your game easier because having a 7,000 power body that's restanding another Dawn every turn is just super strong. Monkey D. Luffy is a 3/. This guy is allowed to go down in count, but I like this guy because he's a 6/7 with a double attack, and on play he'll restand 4 Dawn, but then you can't play a 5 cost. The reason he's a 3/, for me, I've seen people going down to 2/, and cutting this guy, but the reason I keep him at 3 is there's too many yellow decks that want to heal all over the place, and getting double attack to reduce them down as fast as possible is important to me. If you can hit for 1 and get through 2 of their triggers, it's really important to me. This is really good into the Boa Hancock. It's really good against Nami. It's really good against Teach. You want to reduce them as much as you can. As fast as you can. Getting through those... I also really like this against the Purple NL matchup. Just because I do starve Purple NL. And you know how you get caught back up if you starve? Double attack. If they're at 5 life and only have 4 cards in hand, they're going to just take the double attack, go down to 3, and then you're going to start swinging all your other stuff. And you'll probably reduce them to 2 or 1, because if you've starved them properly, they're not going to have the resources to deal with your bigger attacks. I like Brook as a 2/. I've tried playing with it as a 1/, but I like the consistency of being able to find it. It's a 6/6 1 cost. On play, rest 1 of your opponent's cards, Dawn leader or character, and then you can activate main, trash this guy out, and restand one of your characters that is a 8 cost or less. So it can't restand our 9 cost, but it can restand everything else in the deck. DMG is something I like, honestly, to be a 2/, but I just don't know where to find the space. I could cut one of these down to get it to a 2/, but it's not the most important thing. But I will say 2 DMG, people expect you to have 1. They almost never expect you to have 2. If you've got 2 DMG, the surprise factor alone will win you a lot of games. I also think that it would be really good in the mirror match, because if you have 2 DMGs, it's pretty much your whole turn to go 8 Dawn for 2 DMGs, but if you can reduce them down to 0 Dawn, you'll negate all of the Charlestons and their events, meaning that you have shut down their leader ability, and they have to start dealing with your raw swings, which for the most part is going to be 7s and 9s. They're not going to enjoy that. I know you're strong. People play Luna. I don't like Luna because I am playing a more Straw Hat focused build. I also don't know how many things really require the Luna. The green-blue Luffy is really good, but I've always had such a strong matchup into it that being able to freeze 2 versus 4 has never been like a huge deal. You can usually hit their biggest guys, and their littlest guys are going to get eaten up by your leader ability of resting Dawn. I could be wrong, but this has been good enough for me. I also really like that it's searchable by going 5 deep if I need to find it. Perfect. Garp is fine, but I was finding more and more that Garp is starting to miss because I am cutting a bunch of stuff out for more of my Straw Hat build. It's not the end of the world, but stage is so important that I didn't want Garp in the list because everything here finds stage. Charleston is the best defensive event ever printed. When they printed this, they had not even conceptualized the Red Green Luffy, and man, this thing is broken for us. A 2-cost event up to one of our leaders or characters gets plus 4,000 characters, so it is 4,000 power, so it's not even leader locked. Then you can discard a card, and up to 3 of our Dawn get restood. Sorry, meaning that we generate an extra 2k counter out of nowhere and convert something in our hand from brick to 2k. And it's super strong for us. It's also got a trigger of resting one of our opponent's leaders or characters with the cost of 3 or less. Being able to rest that leader is really a decent effect, because people often swing out with their characters thinking that triggers are going to hit characters. Being able to get their leader down is not actually all that bad, especially because leaders are getting bigger and bigger. Some leaders are 7s or 9s, and that's just ridiculous. But if we can knock them down without having to deal with them, that's pretty good too. Stage is really broken. A 1-cost stage that looks at the top 5 for any Straw Hat Crew type card and places the rest at the bottom of the deck. And then its activate main of rest the stage, give up to one of our Monkey D. Luffy up to 1 rest at dawn, means our leader ability is always online. It's crazy strong to be able to just say, hey, I have all of this other stuff, but I can also just go, my 7 costs, I can now play with my freeze events. I can do them both in the same turn now that I got stage. This has solved so many problems for us. I can't tell you how good this is. That's why I want the Nami Searcher more than the Garp Searcher, and the Garp made it so having the Nami instead of Garp meant I couldn't have Luna, so I went with this. That was all dictated by this stage. This stage is that good. We do not want to miss our stage. If you want to put Luna in your list, that's fine. I would not recommend putting Garp in there, but you can. It still has plenty of targets, but I don't like the fact that Garp will miss the Bonnie, the Sanji, the Nami, the Laboon, the Dead Man's Game, the I Know You're Strong, the Charleston, and the stage. That's too many misses in a deck for me to be comfortable with it. Whereas I can play any of these, and none of these get missed except Charleston and Laboon. That's fine. The ability to also chain Jewelry Bonnie into Nami into stage means you can search a huge amount of your deck really fast. And then 1 copy, of course, of the 9-cost Zoro. 9-cost Zoro is also really good in the matches it's good into. But the problem is you need to know what matches it's good into. I can't go through all of them. There's too many leaders in the game for me to pick them all. But I will say it's good in the mirror, and I suspect the mirror is going to become more frequent. Triple Swing is really strong everywhere you can get away with it. But there's a lot of matchups where it will just lose you the game. The ones that pop into mind immediately are Black Yellow Teach, Blue Green Luffy, Boa Hancock. Those are, if you play this, you're going to auto lose. It's also bad into a lot of blue decks. It's not good into Blue Yellow Nami anymore because they have access to Galdino. Galdino will freeze this and draw them a bunch of cards. Granted, they will run out of Galdino eventually, but if this gets frozen for 2 or 3 turns anyways, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I will say I like 9-cost Zoro, but he's very matchup dependent. That's why he's at 1. But because I can go 5, 10, 14 cards deep in a chain to find him if I need to, we can get the 9-cost Zoro when we need it. But you guys let me know. What do you think? Do you like this deck list? Do you not like this deck list? If you do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. We're here at the end of the video. This is Red Green. This has been Tabletop Tactician. I'm at 477 subscribers as of today. I'm trying to get to 500. It's a huge milestone. I appreciate you guys for coming along for the ride. But more than important than subscribing to me is always commenting. I want to know what you guys think. Do you like this? Did I miss stuff? I know I did. This has been a lot for me. I don't normally do these videos because these do take a lot more investment than just recording some of my ranked games and commenting how I think about them. This is a lot of setup. This is a lot of Photoshop, which if you guys have been following me for any length of time, I'm not very good at. So if your criticisms of this breakdown of curve, lethal, and all that is that it doesn't look very pretty, I'll take that with a grain of salt because I know I'm not very good at Photoshop, and I'm okay with that. I'm trying my best for you guys. I will try and get better, I promise. But this is kind of where my skills sit as of today. So let me know what you guys think. I think that's all I got though. So you guys have a good day, a great weekend. Let me know what you guys think. Is this something you want to see more of? Do you want to see breakdowns of other leaders? Do you want to see... I know I'll do one of these for OP17 before you guys start asking. I will do those. But I think that's all I got. So you guys just keep crushing it out there. I hope this helps. Later.